Hi, everyone. Diana Rankin here. I hope you are all doing well on this lovely Friday afternoon where I am. It's a bit windy, so that makes it kind of a little chillier than it would than without the wind. But the sun is out and it is gorgeous. And we've had the craziest weather. One day it's 80, and the next day we have frost. So it is what it is. Anyway, Friday afternoons, and I usually answer a question that one of you has sent in, but today this is a question that I had, and I am going to give you some information from Phillip shortly, but I'm going to talk to you first, and then of course we will get a message from one of my books. It's the Master's Book of Answers by Phillip, who is my spirit guide, and we'll just open to any page to get your message for the week. And what I'm going to read you shortly is a message that Phillip gave me in 2009, September the 2nd, 2009. And excuse me, I've gone back. I have 192 journals, and I've gone back over my journals and pulled out, when I would ask Phillip a question, pulled out any answers that would help others. And this is one of those responses. And I decided to read that to you. And often I will go ahead and type these up and put them on my blog. Well, Juliet, hello. She says, happy Friday the 13th, sitting outside on what may be the last chance to do so this year. And I know Juliet is in Ohio, so she is right there. And Sheila says, hello, Diana. I hope you are doing well. And Sheila also says, hello, everyone, and sends hearts. Yes, we are doing very well. Thank you. But I want to talk to you. I want to keep saying hello to those of you who are able to come live. And it's always exciting to see those of you who are able to come live. And I thank you. I want to talk to you today about why psychics don't see everything that is going to happen, especially when we make the predictions. And I've often told you, I don't like to make monthly predictions. I'm much better with one-on-one, because what I'm reading is the client's energy. Now, I say one-on-one, and I just did a speaking engagement in Northeast Ohio at Metaphysical Insights 528. Thank you. And I often go to Columbus at the Reiki Center and speak to people live. And I've talked to audiences where there are hundreds in the audience, and we will give messages, but I'm still giving the message, reading the energy of the one person. Now, that message often has information for everybody in the crowd because, as an old teacher, I can't help myself. I like to give homework, and I like to give messages that have a greater meaning, that, have that meaning for the person, but also for all. Now, that said, 99.9% of the comments that I receive here on my YouTube or email or wherever are really beautiful, and they tell me how much something we've said is helpful to them. And that, I love that. That helps me a lot. But I did receive a comment on the predictions for October or September. Honestly, I don't remember. I apologize. And the prediction, or the comment on that prediction, said she's tired of psychics. She's not going to listen to psychics anymore. She said, you said it was going to snow someplace, and you did not predict the Maui fires. Well, she's right. I did not predict the Maui fires. Also, in October, we said the first couple of weeks would be relatively calm. We were talking in the U.S. politically, but I can see where that would have been understood as in the world, and they certainly have not been calm. In the U.S., it's calm compared to what it's going to be, I think. But the Speaker of the House, the first time in the history of the U.S., the Speaker of the House was ousted, and so we have to get a new speaker, and the House of Representatives isn't doing so good with that. So I don't know that I would call it calm, but Phillip did, and I think that kind of says, if this was calm, look out. But he's also telling us we have to find our calm. So I asked him, Phillip, I didn't mention that. I didn't predict when we did the predictions. We did not mention the Maui fires. When we did the October, I think that was September, when we did the October predictions, we did not mention the earthquake. We did not, excuse me, we did not mention the Hamas terrorist attack on the left bank on Gaza Strip. We did not mention, I think the earthquake was in Afghanistan, and thousands of people have lost their lives. Why are we not mentioning this? Am I missing something? Am I not hearing you correctly? Now, that said, I want to give you Philip's answer, and then I want to also explain in person or when I'm talking to one person, am I always right? Okay. Philip was explaining to me, and I'm just going to talk to you about this rather than read what he wrote on that. But Philip was explaining to me, and here's the example. Here's what he gave me. Wednesday. Recently, let's just put it that way. Recently, I'm a little off because I've been out of town for a couple of days in the midweek, and that set me off. So anyway, Philip, when I asked this question, I didn't really understand the answer, because what I was getting from Philip is because you couldn't handle it, meaning me, because you're not able, and what good would it do? And I understood what he was saying, but I wanted to go deeper with that. Hello, Mike. And Mike says, I think there's a difference between being spoon-fed and being coached. Thank you. Absolutely. And I am a coach. Thank you. I am interested in helping people develop their spiritual side, their intuition, helping them develop a better life so we can all have a better life. So thank you. And I divert, but that just was important to read. And Sandra says, a warm hello from Frankfurt. Welcome, Sandra. Anyway, I want to return here. I was thinking about what Philip told me, that what good does it do to tell thousands of people, sometime this month your house is going to burn, there's going to be a wildfire. Or sometime, I mean, that all that is doing is spreading fear, I felt. Or you're going to be bombed. Do you really want to tell someone unless they can do something about it, unless they can? When I talk to a private client, I may say, especially if we're looking like at a vacation, and I may ask them to go the next day, and then we find out there was an incident at the airport or with the airplane or whatever. And so we can look at individuals, but when we're talking thousands of people, I know the Israeli government just sent out a notice and asked the UN to be prepared that people in part of the Gaza Strip, 1 million people need to evacuate within the next 24 hours. Can you imagine 1 million people being able to evacuate? That's a humanitarian nightmare. And so that's why Philip doesn't give me that information. He really gave me a good example of why for me. And again, this is for me. I'm not talking about other readers or other psychics. I'm talking for me. I had a conversation, and the gentleman I was talking to is in my age group. I will be 78 November 11th. So we were in the same age. And so he made the comment, it was bad to stop the draft. And I said, there are aspects that are not good, but I'm so grateful. And I work to stop the draft in the US. And I said, the downside of not having a draft is we forget we don't get involved. And so we forget to really say a prayer for the soldiers. In Vietnam, during that period of time, which was my period of time, there were too many who came back with PTSD, and we didn't even know what it was. And so I was explaining to him, or saying to him that I said, I couldn't be a police officer. And I know right now in Ohio, we need police officers. We don't have enough. And believe me, when I saw how the semi-truck drivers are driving on the freeway and a lot of pickup truck drivers, I understood where the there's a real need for some police officers out here. I divert. What we have is, I know that I could not shoot anyone. There's no question in my mind. So I don't have a gun. I will do a lot to protect my animals. I will do a lot to protect myself. There are those who protect me, but I know I could not take a life. In fact, here's a story. My ex-husband traveled a lot, and we lived in the city at the time. And so people behind me, beside me, across the street from me, all of them had a break-in, and they were upstairs sleeping at the time. And so a couple of them called my husband and said, "You got to get home. You got to get home. Everybody's having a break-in." I did not. But he came home and he thought about it. Now, this was a man who grew up with guns, and he had a couple in a safe in our basement where his office was, finished basement. But he knew that I couldn't even handle the energy of it. So he left them locked up. So he came home and he said, "I thought on the airplane about, could I teach you how to shoot a gun? And I knew that you would be the one to end up getting shot, that you really couldn't handle a gun and hurt someone." And he said, "But could I at least put a baseball bat under the bed?" And we laughed about that. And I said, "No, of course not." And fortunately, I never had a break-in. Like I say, I'm well protected. And there are those who, where I live now, protect me, neighbors, etc. Anyway, so I was explaining to this gentleman that I know I could not harm or take the life of another person. Now, I could probably not use a baseball bat, but I have had opportunities to prove that I'm safe. And we talked about that. So I thought about that in connection with Phillip not telling me about the fires in Maui, not telling me about what was happening in Israel. And I understood that, because what can the people do except that creates fear, unless I can give you, either as a group or an individual, I have to be able to give you a solution. And if I can't give you a solution, I'm not going to give you the problem. With individual clients, it's much easier to give a solution. So there are times, however, and I know this is true of others because I have many friends who are animal communicators or psychics, that we will give information, we will give a message. We don't understand what it means. And at the moment we give it, the person that we're giving that message to may not understand it either. But I almost always get confirmation back that what I told that person had meaning. They just had to think it through, or the meaning came later, or somebody gave them confirmation that what I said was correct. So it's very interesting to do what I do, because it's a matter of trust. So to the person who said, "I'm never going to listen to psychics again," I want to say, I hope that's not true, because we are here, most of us, I think, are here out of love to help make the world better, to help make life better for all people. Now, that said, I want to say, hello, Mike. We are learning to tune into our own guides. Absolutely. Yes. And that is my goal, is to help you turn into your own guides. That's not to say we never get readings from others, because, I trade readings all the time, because sometimes our own human emotions do get in the way. So what I wanted to read to you today, this is a message that Phillip gave to me in 2009, November the 2nd. And I think it has a message for all of us. So here it is. When you live with awareness of your life, and by the way, I think this also does tie in with what we've been talking about. When you live with awareness of your life, you begin to understand how your thoughts, words, and actions affect others. This is not to say you should be concerned how others think of you, or of this you have no control. Others see you through their own filter or lack thereof. It is to say, you are to be concerned how your choices affect the all: people, animals, winged ones, trees, the planet, the universe, yourself. If your thoughts poison another, they also poison you. If your deeds hurt the planet, they also hurt you. If your words throw anger at another, the anger comes back on you. If you give to another, others will give more to you. If you think kindly of another, others will think kindly of you. If you reach for understanding and compassion for another, others will find understanding and compassion for you. Ask yourself who you want to be, and then watch yourself as you live your life. Are your words in alignment with who you want to be? Are your deeds? Are your thoughts? When you are in alignment with who you want to be conscious making a different choice. Be kind with yourself as you do. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be a powerful person, a strong person, a compassionate person, a person with healthy boundaries, a person who lives in harmony and not fear, a respected person, a wealthy person, a fun person? The choice is yours. So, friends, I leave you with that message because I think that's a very powerful message. The choice is yours. And whether you get a private reading or listen to my predictions every month or join us here every week, my goal is to help make everyone's life who hears me a little bit better. Am I always right? I doubt it. Do I miss things? Well, yes, I'm not going to be the one unless there's something that can be done about it that will predict major, terrific, horrendous events, because that's not in my makeup. Sorry. And you can see why. Okay, let's get our message for the week, shall we? Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Tears are of the heart. Allowed to cry. So hearing left. If you heard left, our intuition's in sync. Why wait for something that might never live life now? Oh, live it, my friends. We can't worry about walking into Walmart and the gunman is in there. We can't worry about that. We have to trust our intuition to say, time to leave. We can't worry about are we going to be in Israel when there's a Hamas terrorist strike? Live our lives now. And if we aren't to be there, we won't be there. If we are to be there, if it is our way of saying it's my time to move into spirit world and I will be a part of this, we will be there. If we are not to lose everything in a fire in Maui, we will not be there. If we are, our souls have agreed to it. Not the human part by any means, but our souls. Protect yourself with your love. So you heard left. Why wait for something that might never be when you can? The glider who does not ride the currents does not stay in the air. The glider who does not ride the currents does not stay in the air. To translate that a bit, follow the energy of your heart and let the world heal because of what you're adding to it. You've heard me say it before. I'll say it again. There's love, there's fear. It's not to say we never use words we may not probably should use. Of course, we're going to get angry. Of course, we're going to get upset. But let's take time to look at it. Let's not stuff it. Let's look at it and say, okay, I'm angry, but that's no fun. I'd rather enjoy my day. It's much more fun. And as Mike says, we are learning to tune into our own guides. Yes, yes, yes. My newsletter is free. My blog is free. Go to my website. You can read the blogs. You can sign up for the newsletter. There are ways there of tuning in. There are ways there of telling happiness. I love that some of you are able to be with me in person on Fridays, 1:00 Eastern time. I try to get here every Friday. I thank you. Also, check out some of the other YouTube videos I have. I've got a bunch on here, and they're free. Thank you, my friends. If you have a private question, please get a hold of me privately. Information to do that is on my website. And if you have questions that you want us to answer on a Friday afternoon of a general nature that will be of interest to everyone, you can put them in the comments below, or you can email them to me directly. I love you. From Piper and I, and those of us here, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for receiving our love. And thank you for the love you send us. See you next Friday, if not before.